Over the weekend, the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Sir Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was knighted in the tiny Caribbean island of St Lucia. And in the last couple of days, that almost unknown country to Nigerians have now become the subject of discourse. And today we will be beaming our searchlight on St. Lucia and the visit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to that Caribbean country. It's my way of welcoming you to Info Synthesis. And you know how we do? We'll be breaking the information to little bits. You're welcome. I am Osandumbono. With me to have this conversation today is, of course, the man you know, historian, political and current affairs analyst, Mr. Nnamdi Elekwachi. You're welcome, Mr. Nnamdi Elekwachi.
It's nice to be here, Osando. Thank you for having me. Greetings to our viewers.
St. Lucia, that tiny Caribbean island country. In the last couple of days, it's been the major topic and has found its way into the mainstream discourse of Nigerians. And our president has been there has spent actually 3 days, or now 4, as the case may be, in that country. What do you think are the benefits of this high-level visit coming from Nigeria to St. Lucia?
Okay, thank you so much. The benefit, if you must speak in terms of the benefit, is that from what we are seeing, I have yet to see any economic relations or any bilateral talks on the economic fronts being begun or being entered into. So what we are seeing so far is that it is just, to me, cultural diplomacy. We are seeing the president talk about these people being people from West Africa because of the issue of transatlantic slave trade. They found themselves there. They were people who were actually kidnapped by slave hunters back in the day, and then rammed the ship and then transported to the Americas. You had them then work in the indigo plantation, sugarcane plantation, and then what have you. Over the years, they still remain there, and then they say their roots from Africa. Apart from that, and then the fact that the president is going to see maybe the Nigerian community there, I do not know what this will bring to us economically, then militarily, or even politically. But from what they are saying, diplomatically, they want to strengthen ties with this country. But to me, I don't know whether that will boost trade relations between the two countries, because as of yet, or as we speak, even in the last 10 years, the exchange in terms of trade between the two countries is not even up to $100,000.
You just mentioned cultural exchange, and one will now begin to wonder the percentage of ethnic Nigerians, if we have to use that word, in St. Lucia. It's well below 32%. People who have been traced to have their roots from Nigeria. We have more people who have their roots from Nigeria in Barbados, more. And you're looking at a country that is less than 200,000 persons. I'm talking about as at December of last year, their population. So economically, do you think that they have anything to offer in terms of bilateral trades with Nigeria?
So far, we've not seen much from what we are harvesting following this tour by the president. Because if at all there is something strategic economically to be benefited from, or maybe we would have been seeing that. Like I did say before, there would have been agreements, bilateral agreements signed between the two countries, represented by the president and maybe their governor general or whomever. But we have yet to see all of that. What you are seeing is the president visiting students who are from Nigeria, and then also the Nigerian community there, and talking to them about hard work and discipline and then or whatnot. And then the president being welcome to the parliament to address the parliament, and the president going to see the governor general, and then all of that. That's all of that. Even the cultural exchange we have here, if it's still on the surface. We've seen I don't think we've actually done anything deep to say this is something that is quite startling, maybe a revelation that this is why we are embarking on this visit. Then, if you talk about economy, like I did say, the volume of trade between Nigeria and this country is not even up to $10,000 as at last year. So, what are we talking about? Unless there is something strategic we may not know. But for now, that country to me is not something that holds any significant importance, even if you're talking about strategy. And it beats me when handlers of the president or even the presidential aides will release a statement saying strategic. If you talk about strategic interest in international relations, you are talking about long-term or concrete spheres, areas that may cover military, that may cover economy, that may cover also politics. And if you look at what we have harvested so far, what we have seen, I don't think that is something about military cooperation, even what you may call mutual legal assistance. When you have a mutual legal assistance with a country, it simply means that if there is a person of interest to you, the country can actually trigger repatriation or even hand over the person to you. There is nothing of that unless by the time the president finishes his tour there, his state visit, as we were made to understand. By the time he finishes his state visit, we will now have more to read. But for now, so far, I don't think. And then my own concern is that if we're talking about economy, we may have a situation where the country spends more than the volume of economic exchange between the two countries, because he's staying somewhere they called I don't remember the name of the place. They called Window Jammer or something like that. A resort, a resort somewhere on the beach, and then I wouldn't know how much a night goes. Don't forget, it's going to be. I do not know whether because it is state visit as they said, but there's also a report somewhere which I don't know. They said the present state visit should be 2 days or even 3 days. I don't know whether this country is taking care of the whole thing. I find the point, but I'm saying this because Nigeria doesn't have a house in St. Lucia as it does in New York or in London, where you have the Nigerian house. Don't forget that even with the Nigerian house there in the United States of America, the president attended the United Nations General Assembly summit in 2023, following his swearing in to initiate his programs and his policies. The president spent almost 1 week there with his traveling team. According to a report, they spent over $400,000 in a hotel known as St. Regis Hotel, including accidentals paid, I think, about 60,000 to 80,000 US dollars. So you ask yourself that same question. If at all Nigerian government is the one to fund this trip, then what does it take from us? Does it mean that the president is going to spend thousands of dollars in a country where we don't even do as much as $20,000 worth of trade with in terms of exchange and then all of that? What are we going to harvest as economic outcomes of this very visit?
Still on the pronouncement that there could be cultural exchange, being discussed. This country speaks English and Creole, and I don't know if they have managed to retain most of their African culture. So I want to understand if indeed Nigeria is exporting our culture to St. Lucia to probably help to revamp maybe a latent or dead African identity that they may have had or wish to now have. Because I want to understand why there should be some level of cultural, diplomacy here being, bandied about, because one needs to understand from one dimension. So could it be that the president is exporting our culture to St. Lucia? Because I still don't see any benefit they were supposed to get from St. Lucia, because that's St. Lucia, that's St. Vincent. These are just very tiny Caribbean countries. And if there should be a visit that could be strategic, one could be looking at Venezuela, if you ask me, which is much more strategically located in that particular territorial waters, if you ask me. That should even make more sense, because
Yes,
that could be a country that shares
Venezuela is also, I think Venezuela should also belong to OPEC.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That should be a much more better one. Then also I see here an elephant going to help an ant. That's what I see here, because a country that is less than the population of Abba South, for instance, and you have a president who sits on or chairs a country of an estimated over 220 million people. So that tells me that probably he's going there to provide assistance culturally, given the fact that we just heard that he's offered scholarships to students.
Yes, I will come to that scholarship
in St. Lucia. So, for your take, do you feel that it could be that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to export Nigerian culture to St. Lucia?
Let me even tell you this. You see, is culture the reason why we must have government-to-government ties? It should be the question. Culture, should it be the reason why we will have government-to-government ties? And I know why I'm saying this. Not that culture is not strategic. I'm coming. To me, it is beneath the office of a president to play the role of a cultural ambassador. It is beneath the office of the president, because it should be, like I said before, it should be things that I consider strategic. Militarily, are we cooperating? Because Nigeria is at war. Are there any military equipment or gadget or implements they are manufacturing there that the president is going to sign treaty with them, say, you are going to sell to us? One, economically, what do they have as natural resources that we are leveraging to open economic frontiers, to say we are opening economic frontiers to begin exchange of economic programs? Three, politically, what is their place in global politics that we can align with them to say we are benefiting when we go to the United Nations, when we go to even multilateral partners? That's the area. So when people like Bayo Oranoga talk about strategic, I don't see anything strategic there. Culture should be done by offices created. Now, even as much as we may not have offices there, the diplomatic ties may not have been deepened to the extent you have cultural attaché, or you may have maybe the Nigerian house, like I said before, or even a mission there. The truth there remains that you have the Ministry of Culture, of Natural Orientation, or even Information. So why would the president be the one to do cultural diplomacy for the country? I say until it is something about government to government, and we know when it is government to government, when you talk about embassy to embassy, but when you say culture should be taken care of at consular level. Consular level. It's not something you talk about, we say embassy to embassy, or you say that Nigeria should establish a high commission there because of what cultural interest. No! It is political interest. It is economic interest. It is military interest that will necessitate a president of a country going to another country. And then that will also necessitate what? Establishment of high commission or embassy. If it is about culture, we say, okay, fine, we have similarity in terms of culture. We can actually express ourselves in diverse way, exchange cultural programs, and then even intermarry, and then all of that. That could be taken care of at the consular level.
But again, it also appears as though indeed there is a cultural exchange. Mr. President,
the president is not the one to lead that. The president is not the one to lead. He's not the one to lead that delegation.
But now that he has led it, we've seen that Mr. President has been knighted. He has been knighted as one of the highest honors in St. Lucia, the ninth commander of the Order of St. Lucia. So it seems as if he's already acculturating within the St. Lucia.
Let me tell you this thing.
Cultural community.
Yes, whether or not we like it, these are just part of the whole thing. They want to embellish. When Clinton came here, he was also.
You want to tell me that I was being knighted as the ninth of the Order, ninth commander of the Order of St. Lucia.
In 1950,
doesn't really make any sense.
In 1958, have you asked yourself, somebody like Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was a Muslim, but was addressed as Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Someone like Sadwana of Sokoto,
was Sir
Ahmadu Bello, was also addressed as Sir. They were knighted. Members of the British Empire, they were knighted. It doesn't mean anything. It's honor. The president also had.
But that's culture. Well, what about culture?
I'm coming. The president had also extended this to non-citizens, including people like Bill Gates and the rest of them who were given honors. In most cases, what you're talking about would be national honor, may not be a career of culture, designate honor of the land. When we talk about culture, we will actually dissect and know critically where it is coming or where to situate it. I'm talking about national honor. It's a different thing. Like Abiola was actually given an honor in New York or something like that. It's a different thing entirely. I
We're talking about cultural exchange here.
Yes.
And a country had to, just like when you come to some parts of Nigeria.
Let me tell you something.
Or the north.
I'll give you something.
In the north. They could give you a title in the
east.
It mean? That's cultural exchange.
What does it mean?
It means that you are being acculturated.
That you have been turbaned.
You are acculturated in
now that Tinubu was
in Gombe State.
Now that Tinubu has been dubbed. Now that they have created him a knight.
Right.
Now that they have created now that they have created him a knight, has it in any way added to cultural values? Let me also
he will be coming back to Nigeria as a knight.
Let me come back again now. You see, let us understand this. When you say knighted, when you say acculturate, I do not know where to situate these things. But the question is, how is Nigeria marketing her culture to earn something concrete? It's not about the president going there to receive a cultural title, if it is even cultural. It is how we are marketing. We have the Nollywood. We have the entertainment industry. We have the music industry. Where are we marketing these things to St Lucia? Don't tell me that president is there to promote our culture or market our culture. He is not the ambassador for culture. Yeah, as far as this is
the number one ambassador of Nigeria. Absolutely.
Then in diplomatic ties, to go and talk about culture. Cultural diplomacy is not part of what he should be doing. The reason why you have even the National Orientation Agency, the reason why you have even the Ministry of Information, the reason why you have cultural departments. I feel the point. Even if Nigeria had been able to establish ties with St. Lucia, we would have been having cultural attaché there. It's not bad. You have commercial attaché there. It's not bad. You have military attaché. It's not bad. But in this case, you may not have such things. So I don't think that I'm not saying that the president should not be the ambassador of Nigeria in all spheres. But I'm saying that certain things are beneath the office of the president. See, the president is not someone you pull, you call, you come and sign cultural relations. For what? For what? Explain it. For what? When we have more pressing issues, and that's why we even have ministers and then ambassadors and then. So to me, I feel if you want to market Nigeria on the basis of culture, see what America is doing with the internet revolution. See what they are doing. People are on TikTok, people are on Facebook, people are everywhere. What are you doing? We are intersecting, cultural intersection. Now, what can Nigeria leverage back home here to project there to help her earn or even earn at least loyalty? That is what is known as soft power. What can we do to earn loyalty, at least loyalty, or even commitment, or even cooperation on the part of this country? So culture is also part of soft power. What are we doing? So let's leave these things for the optics. Talk about the real issue. Now, the president is talking about giving scholarships, not fund, scholarships to people who are in that country and the Caribbean who want to study in Nigeria. But the president was giving student loan to our own citizens. Then again, it reminded me something that happened in 1975, exactly 50 years ago, when Yakubu Gowon undertook to pay the salary of workers in Grenada, another tiny Caribbean country.
Very close to St Lucia.
Grenada, he undertook to pay the salary. Today, Tinubu is giving scholarships. So, does it make sense? To me, this is what I call misplacement of priority.
Nnamdi, you are an international relations expert. The visit of Mr. President to the Caribbean is not just about St. Lucia. You have St. Vincent. You just mentioned Grenada. It's actually just an hour's boat from St. Lucia to Grenada. You also have Barbados. These are countries that share some level of cultural ties with Nigeria, owing to the fact that you have people.
When you say cultural ties, you are not here to establish the point that African deities are still being observed there. That African cultures are still being observed there.
But
We are talking about the origin.
The origin.
We are talking about origin. We talk about places like maybe Brazil, where there are still
I am coming.
remnants of these
Even in
African
Venezuela,
cultures.
even in Venezuela, you also have people who still maintain African culture in Venezuela. Thank God you even mentioned Brazil. But I'm talking about the impact of Mr. President's visit to the Caribbean. Because if we're talking about exporting Nigerian culture to St. Lucia, do you think that there could be a reverberating impact of his visit across, not beyond St. Lucia to St. Vincent, to Grenada, Barbados, Venezuela? Do you think that this could be why they say it is strategic? I mean, his visit.
Is his routine also involving these countries you mentioned?
No, he might not visit those countries, but I'm talking about the impact of his visit to St. Lucia.
Those countries are not welcome. These other countries, let's limit his visit to where it is happening. Let's limit it to where it is happening. St. Lucia, there is nothing in the schedule. Bayo or Onanoga or those who are handling the president have not come out to say the president will from here stop over in Barbados or anywhere in the Caribbean. No. And
but this
as far as I'm concerned, no, it will not.
It could.
These are different. No, it's cool. It will not, because these are independent nations, each with a flag at the UN.
Agreed.
I follow the point. The fact that you are in St. Lucia does not open the border of Barbados or even Venezuela to you.
But
it doesn't open. It doesn't unless
if
you have to
in St. Lucia.
Wait,
there could be a reason why
you have to open channels for more channels. That the fact that you are a president of Nigeria does not warrant you to visit Barbados without formal arrangement, unless you want to visit, unless it's a private visit.
You seem not to be getting my question. The visit of Mr. President to St. Lucia on the on the backs of having to establish cultural ties or cultural diplomacy with St. Lucia, and I asked, don't you think it could open other doors to him extending this same cultural ties or top level diplomatic relations to other Caribbean countries? Because I believe there will be some takeaways, some positives of his visit to St. Lucia that other countries on the Caribbean would want to also
that now will depend on how the president was able to do his cultural diplomacy.
Already, he has spent 4 days already.
It depends on how.
And you and I know that he's not wasting our money.
I'm coming. It depends on how. It depends on how the president was able to do what, to do his cultural diplomacy. I shouldn't be talking about the Nigerian president, and I'll be talking solely about cultural diplomacy. There should be economic benefits. There should be even strategic benefits more than culture tied to this.
Now
you spoke about his visit. The president of Nigeria can visit anywhere. American president can visit Nigeria, but that alone may not have much impact until there is working relations defined. I'll tell you something. You see, Nigeria, president of Nigeria, in fact, people have been visiting America, and I'm talking about culture. When Nigerian Olympic team came to the US in 1996, we exhibited our culture. We came with musical or cultural groups, and then ensemble. Something would happen. Some of these players, in fact, America welcomed the Nigerian community and promised to give them opportunities to work and then stay there. Are you following the point? It happened also, I think, in the US, during the US 94 World Cup or the Atlantis. That's what you mean when if you're telling me about culture or being able to market the country. The president is not going. He didn't even go there with any cultural thing. He just went there with his handlers. I'm coming. Now you ask a question.
He's bringing students from St. Lucia to Nigeria.
Now you are asking, has he brought them?
No.
Has he brought them yet?
Has opened the door.
Will it appeal to them? Will they come?
No, if they do come,
I pray they come. I pray they come. Now, I will tell you something.
Please.
You see, excuse me, please. Don't make Nigeria less. Don't make Nigeria less. This is a country where, at the heat of the apartheid, South Africans voluntarily came to Nigeria.
Because we're the big brother.
I'm coming. This is also a place where many scholars of Africa, if you talk about even the Kenyan scholar, you talk about all of them, they were here. at some point, even University of Jos, University of Nigeria and Soka, University of Ibadan, Ile-Ife, knew about foreigners. I don't think that it took the president of this country to go there. Are you following the point? If we get our act, in fact, if we get our house in order, we will flourish culturally and any aspect you want to look at it from. I'm not saying that culture is not something that we should export. I'm not saying that culture is not something that we should project. I'm not saying that culture is not what we should actually do what market. But I do not see the president yet using the vehicle of doing the same thing, like the Nollywood. Like I said, I don't know, but I'm wishing him well. But then you said something. You said whether he was spending our money. You and I cannot hear right here, seated inside the studio, manufacture or even say yes or no to that. Because we do not know all there is to this travel. We do not know whether this travel, the entire 8 days the president is going to be spending there, or the entire week the president is staying there, will be fully funded by this government. If it is a state visit, fine. We have state visits where a president comes and then everything about your stay will be taken care of by the state. But we want to know what is actually happening. Is it an 8-day state visit, which I have not seen in any release? 8-day state visit, or they just said a state visit where the president is expected to stay 8 days. Don't forget, it may be 2 or 3 days. When this government will no longer have anything to do, it means that if this is the case, the president ceases to be their guest, becomes a private person in their country, whether he's touring and everything. And then I have said something before. I do not know much about this because I'm not in the president's protocol. I don't protocol team. I don't know all that is apart to this. But I'm saying that when the president traveled to the New York, we saw how much was spent, as reported back here, over $400,000. Then the same country, during the United Nations conference on climate change in Dubai, we had the largest
delegation.
Yeah, our delegates are outnumbered even the one of even those from America, and then you could be asking, why all this? Now that the president has said, I am cutting down the number of persons to accompany me to these tours. Do you know if at all, and this is my personal belief, in most cases, apart from St. Lucia, there have been times when the president is could be traveling or will be traveling. We will hear something like working vacation.
Working visit.
Working vacation or something like that.
Working vacation.
We've heard oxymoronic expression. No, take that there have been these oxymoronic expressions. Working vacation. Yes, I'm correct. Working vacation and all of that. Even
you can't be at work and
no, it has happened in this administration. I'm not joking.
Wow.
Now, when they say this, it simply means in fact, a justification for not handing over briefs to the vice president when you are touring. So, if it is on medical grounds, now I'm coming. It just explains the reason why you didn't hand over briefs to the vice president, which has never happened before. I'm not sure it has happened before. Even Buhari began well until 2018, 2017, when Osibanjo acting now appointed Justice Walter Onogen, now sacked the DG of DSS because of what? Because of the besiege, the fact that they went to the besiege the National Assembly, and then also releasing Nandekano. The president came, and then from that time onward, in fact, we saw a memo that said all communications and then correspondence should go through the chief of staff, Abakiari, the let. Are you following the point? Before then, Buhari was handing over briefs to Osibanjo. We've not seen Tinubu. I've never read anywhere that Tinubu handed over briefs to his vice. In most cases, the president would travel, and the vice would also travel, leaving the country still almost ungoverned. And when people say the third person should take over, who is the third person? The parliament. We are talking about the leader of the parliament. Where does it happen? That the leader of the parliament will oversee the parliament and then oversee the executive. It makes nonsense of the joint tickets we are giving these people. Let's call it spade a spade. So, like this visit now, I am saying, if at all there is a time or there will be a point at which the government of St. Lucia will say is no longer part of our business. It simply means that the president is there on the taxpayers' money, which may exceed the volume of trade between Nigeria and St. Lucia. And I'm saying that
you mean the cost of his vacation may exceed.
Let me tell you something now. How many persons are there with him? How much is Bayo or another going to take as Easter code? Ministers will take $1,000 as Easter code in the next administration. Per day. Easter code is per day. And then if they stay there for 10 days, now just try to work out this. Apart from $460,000 spent in New York, this is something about a week. The United Nations General Assembly is not something for a day. You have time to familiarize. You also have time to do sideline diplomacy, and then all of that. By the time you spend 4 to 5 days there, 1,000 naira per minister. If you are about 5 ministers, let's even be conservative. How much have they earned? Which worker earns that in a month? If a minister stays 5 days and is paid that extra code, how much has such minister earned? That's about $5,000. And to convert it to the naira, we're talking about almost 7.5 million naira, or nearly to 10 million naira or so. How many workers in Nigeria earns that? It should be the question we should be asking. And that's why I'm saying they should be careful not to spend taxpayers' money. For now, I cannot say that the government of St. Lucia will take care of everything. The entire 8-day period or 1 week period the president is expected to be there. I cannot also say that the government of this federation will fund any number of days the president is staying there. But whatever happens, we will definitely get to hear the last of it.
Now, on another angle, St. Lucia happens to be a country known for beautiful resorts, nice, beaches where you could go and do sunbathing, exotic, corals. People actually go there to enjoy themselves. I don't know. Do you think probably Mr. President went on vacation?
The word I was looking for is working vacation.
Yeah. So do you think probably he went on vacation under the guise of having to visit a country on a working visit?
If the president has gone, is on vacation, it simply means he's not working, because he was just having one in Lagos the other day. Don't forget, he was in Lagos during the holidays. Why
I ask the question is, he spent almost a week.
Your question is important. Yes, and you will ask yourself, what importance is St. Lucia to Nigeria that our president should spend a week there?
So it could be, I don't know.
And I want to say, I want you to do something. Go and check by your Onanuga's social media platforms
and handle. He's doing a good job to defend the president.
It's not even about that. Well, he's telling us how he woke up to the beautiful songs of birds and the scenic environment and then multi-vegetational,
it's lovely.
And that could also tell you what he's enjoying there, or perhaps a part of the reason they are there. He's writing poems and the beautiful things about scenic environment or the place. It's just reminded me something that happened during the election. Someone from the National Orientation Agency was sent to go and monitor election and then be part of the stakeholders, those who will monitor the process of election. Okay. The person was reporting about how multi-vegetational beauty of Nigeria spanning, was snapping vegetations. He will say this place is plateau when you are supposed to be reporting election. So I don't want to mention the name of the person. So this, we may not be actually misrepresenting. See, whether the place is a beautiful country or not, we didn't elect someone to go on vacation. We elected someone.
Sometimes he needs to cool off. He's the president.
You see, we make this country, we take this thing too far. And if you see,
it's not easy to be a president.
In America, it's not easy to be a president. Yeah, and that's why we hear. That's why he hears our prayers. I will tell you something. In America, alone will not. Have you seen an American president go elsewhere as an American president for vacation?
But we have security concerns in the country.
Yeah, so and that's a critical concern. And that's a critical concern. And that's a critical concern will overwhelm the president. That is why popular policy saying that it's, in fact, it is beneath the office of the president. If you know what it means to say president, because we know the president of this country is someone, and I think the only person who can go to St. Lucia if he wants to go, because for him to even go there, you have the team that will advance, a presidential corps, a team that will advance before him. You have protocol, you have intelligence, you have those who have been assigned the duty of protecting the president. That's the secret service. You have the intelligence community. Then with all of this, you want me to believe that the president cannot come to Calabar or even or yes, or anywhere else to have that. But then that's fine. But all I'm saying is that we all have to be careful so that we don't end up spending or wasting more than necessary. Because I'm talking about the economic ties between these two countries. I do not know whether you have consumed any St. Lucian manufacture. Have you consumed anything made in St. Lucia?
You're talking about me or
You?
I see. That country only became popular and known to me probably barely 5 days ago.
But I know the country by very nature of my.
It doesn't
So
make
I know,
any meaning to me.
and then that's the kudos we also need to give the president for discovering
St. Lucia,
discovering like Mungo Park discovered somewhere in Africa, for discovering St. Lucia for some Nigerians.
Okay, for Nigerians.
For some Nigerians. For
someone like me as well.
Perhaps.
But are you concerned that Mr. President couldn't properly visit the people who were attacked in Yelwata?
I am.
But he was able to fly to a sort of unknown country.
Yeah, I am.
Caribbean.
I am because
he's spending well over.
I am.
For 7 days.
Yes, I am. Because there is that saying, you do not leave your house when it is burning to chase after rats. We're talking about 200 lives. We're talking about, apart from that one, subsequent attacks and other incidents are actually taking place that require the nation, not just the president, to actually mourn and ask itself questions how to address and then arrest all of these ugly situations and menace. Now, the president did not even reach, he didn't even reach Yelewata, the scene of what people are now calling genocide. You are even calling, you are even still talking about, people are now alluding, people are now saying it is genocide. 200 people. We harvested deaths of 200 people. The president didn't as much travel to that far. He travel that far. He just stayed somewhere and called some persons. How many victims were there? How many victims we even know that their president came? We're talking about poor people, displaced persons. Do you know what seeing the president could have actually done for them? They have given that uplift. That could have actually lifted their morale to know that yes, we still have a president in this country. Now the president didn't go there. He stopped. In fact, he stopped somewhere. After everything, he went back, and then all of a sudden he is spending more than 1 week or more than 5 days in another country where we are not sure he will come back with a baggage or diplomatic baggage that say, or even a bargain that says, address Nigeria's insecurity problem. Do this, do that, do that. It's not about going there. Yeah, yes, we've seen him go there to talk to the Nigerian community there. But what will it even translate into economically, security-wise, politically, even diplomatically? Will aligning with Nigeria, or if Nigeria should cement, which is not bad, cement diplomatic ties with this country, what will it give Nigeria?
But in the committee of in most cases, it may not necessarily need to benefit Nigeria. We could extend a hand.
Let me tell you something.
I'll tell you something. You could extend a hand of assistance.
It's not bad
to a country.
It's not bad. But you must make sure your house is in your house is in order.
Don't forget Nigeria.
Before you extend that hand of friendship, you must make sure that your house is in order.
Nigeria is the most populous black nation on planet Earth.
Good.
And that means that anywhere Mr. President is going, he's going with that measure of influence. And that simply means he's going to a country to influence a black nation also. And he's going to pat them on the back and tell them, we are with you. Okay. You know why I'm saying this? And we must understand that there must be positive. So are you happy that St. Lucia, whose GDP is put at 2.4 billion US dollars, and that is way lower than the GDP of Ekiti State, which is 2.9 billion, far more lower than other states' GDP, which is put at 7.1 billion US dollars. Don't you think that Mr. President's visit to St. Lucia is to help them probably show up certain sectors of the economy as a big brother?
A big brother in what sense? In what sense?
As the most populous black nation on the earth. It's like America going to bomb Iran on the behalf of Israel.
I'm coming. You are missing the point. Let me say this. You see, you said the president going to
assist.
If you talk about
He has offered scholarship
if you talk about
in that
Obasanjo,
country.
let's talk. Okay,
So you can't tell me that
let's talk a little about foreign policy. The big brother foreign policy. The big brother foreign policy, where was it actually anchored? The big brother policy, where was it anchored?
Because you and I are aware that Nigeria at the moment is known as the giant of Africa.
Good. Now, Africa is the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy.
True.
Or used to be the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy. Now we are talking about 4D under President Muhammadu, under President Tinubu, 4D under Yusuf Tuko, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who talks about development, talks about democracy, talks about diaspora. Now, the question now becomes, how are you aligning all this in all your engagements? That's number one. Then number two, if you say big brother, are we still that big brother?
We are, by virtue of our population.
You don't know. I will tell you something. Before now, the big brother rule was all about Nigeria intervening where there are crises in Africa. I want you to go and study a country like Rwanda today. Go and study Rwanda. Kagame. See what he's doing. But before now, it used to be, if Nigeria coughs, Africa will catch cold. I found the point. And I'm being objective. The days we had ECOMOG, that's ECOWAS monitoring group.
Yeah.
We remember the days of Joshua Dogoyaro. We remember all our generals who participated in that. In fact, even before ECOMOG, the Congo crisis, Nigeria contributed to the United Nations mission in 1960s. Agu Ironsi was there, Nzogu was there, Obasanjo was there, Murtala Mohammed was there, Ojukwu was there. Now, apart from all of this, even in the 1970s, Nigeria has been contributing to world peace. Today, are we still doing that big brother role? Do you know what it means? Are we still doing that? Are we still intervening to help other countries? Babangida even introduced tax, the technical aid score. Are we still doing things in a way that Nigeria will intervene, and then these people, do they still see us as their big brother? That should be the question. Apartheid has come and gone. How is South Africa treating Nigeria today? How is Ghana treating Nigeria today? Are you following the point? How is even a country like Benin Republic, how are they treating Nigeria today? That should be the question. So let's forget about the big brother thing. It was all about African things when we had the Afrocentric tendencies in our foreign policy. That's by the way. Now, we are a country that is still struggling. And I'm sure you know all the indicators. What is happening to our budget? What is happening to our economy? Where inflation is? Where unemployment is? Where food crisis is? Where food poverty is? The fact that we have millions who do not have access to nutrient-rich food is a big challenge already on us. So before you extend your hand of friendship to another country, you must also make sure that your citizens are at least okay. Now, if you are going to St. Lucia to market your culture, and to me, and you are not doing it in such a way, okay, let me even not talk too much, but by the time the president comes back, we will still have more. We will be here to talk about post St. Lucia visit. We have to talk about it.
You should also
we see the deliverables he will bring him back.
There should be, because you and I already know that St. Lucia has a better human development index
than Nigeria. Even when you were saying
so definitely
GDP, even when you are, that would be unfair if you're saying GDP, because you also talk about per capita income.
Yes,
they are better than Nigeria.
Who be coming to that?
They are better than
like I said, there will be deliverables, like you just mentioned.
Okay.
Once he comes back, we know that he will learn something from St. Lucia, because we are also aware that the literacy level in St. Lucia is way more higher.
Than
Nigeria. So there's still a cultural
and then you are going to give scholarship. Now listen, you are even the one saying it. The literacy level in
St. Lucia is higher. That's right.
And then you are going to also empower them.
You
are going to give them scholarship.
He's only going to empower them to do more.
Then you are also you are giving loan. You see, we must make this thing. We must make this thing to have face, please. We must make this thing to have face. We must make this thing to have face. Nigeria, even if you're talking about international relations or even talking about foreign policy, there is what is known as intermestic factors. Everything we are doing should start from home. And that is why Section 12 of the 1999 Constitution as amended is clear that no treaty obligation entered into by Nigerian state shall have a force of law, except to the extent backed it, or to the extent it was backed up by the National Assembly. So we talk about domestication of international laws. You also talk about using your environment to build your foreign policy. And that's why when they said democracy, development, I said, okay, these ones are environment. Then I said diaspora. I said, okay. Then I said development. Development is something about international, but it starts somewhere within. So what we have to do is we have to begin to reimagine Nigeria, what role Nigeria should play. We have to begin to also revisit and review our foreign policy um, uh, dynamics and then trends. Whatever we are doing, we should be strategic. Let's not waste that word strategic for something that may not even give us much. And I'm saying it again, may we not have a situation where the present return having spent more. And you see, in international relations, you have to be strategic because there are no free riders. There are no free riders. You don't come out and start doing charity. When America is intervening in Israel, America is also benefiting. When America is intervening everywhere, America is benefiting. Let's also be strategic. So when your another that says strategic, what is strategic about a visit to a country you don't have up to $100,000 worth of trade in exchange? Now ask yourself, what does only the Southeast or even Onitsha and China give Nigeria? And we're talking about amount of money an international trader, one international trader in Lagos may have $100,000. I'm saying $100,000 is something one trader in Lagos. I don't want to come to the formal sector. I'm still talking about informal sector business people may even have such amount of money. So let's learn how to prioritize our goals in line with making Nigeria achieve the 4D diplomacy framework. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. But I must also put to you very quickly that if the St. Lucia's government are not happy with Mr. President's visit, I'm not sure they would have knighted him.
I'll tell you something. It's honor. It's honor. The president has been doing that too. I'll tell you something. You see, they are talking about opening cultural or even diplomatic ties with St. Lucia. If I were the president of this country, I will open ties with them, but not on embassy to embassy level. Unless I'm sure there is something economically we are benefiting, militarily, politically, even in terms of exchange of maybe resources or even personnel, humans, we are exchanging. We say, okay, fine. Let me tell you something. You see, America doesn't have embassies everywhere in the world. There are places America has what is known as interest protection section. A place like Iran, you don't expect America to have a team of diplomats there. There, it's a risk. Nigeria should also learn the same thing. In most cases, we could use one mission to cover 3 or 2 countries. It's not bad. Especially if you're talking about these tiny countries that are just few hours apart. So we can actually do more. The president we are talking about the same president who recalled our ambassadors and our high commissioners. So to restructure what Nigeria is spending, maintaining her missions abroad. We are the same president who is going to open maybe an embassy or so in St. Lucia. I want us to cooperate with St. Lucia, but I want us to cooperate on favorable terms that will yield us something strategic. When we say strategic, it is strategic, not when you are just trying to justify a visit that could be flimsy.
Thank you very much, Nnamdi. He wants us to cooperate with St. Lucia, but it must be on favorable terms. And that's the way we'll be wrapping up this section on Info Synthesis. Make sure you like our page, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Osman Bon is my name. Peace out.